Hi guys, so the first video that you're ever going to do is super short and sweet, and I hope that you can hear over top of the fan, so I'm going to try to do my best. It's short, so like I said, even if you'll have to report back whether you can hear okay or not, and we'll adjust from there. So we're going to try to take a couple minutes just to save us some time in class doing writing linear equations. Our focus for today is just going to be to focus solely on when you have a graph and when you have this provided information. So looking at this information, it says, I mean, we all know slope-intercept form, the y equals mx plus b. You guys have that down pat right here. And there are two critical pieces of information from that. Those two critical pieces of information are the slope, which is represented by m, and the y-intercept, which is represented by b. So right below here, the first one says write the equation for the following lines. If m equals 2/3 and the y-intercept equals -4, write the equation. Basically, I'm giving you the two pieces of information already, and all you have to do is plug them in. So we put the m number where the slope is, 2/3, and we put the y-intercept number where the b is, the -4. And make sure, because it's a -4, you fill it in as -4. You could also put plus and then in parentheses -4. The second one says it passes through 0, 5 and has slope, or m, equals -6. So right away we already know that that slope number is -6. However, you also have to observe that if it passes through 0, 5, we know that anything that has 0 in the x spot, that automatically means that that other number has to be the y-intercept. So from there, we can just go ahead and write our equation. And then that one's done as well. So make sure you pay attention to that. If x is 0, then the other number is your y-intercept. So below here we have 3 graphs. On each graph, we're going to identify the slope, which means we're going to have to count our rise over our run, identify the y-intercept, and write a linear equation. So we want to find those two pieces of information that we were using before. The tricky thing, and on this one it's not something that you see because I have 2 points marked for you, but there are times when you're going to have to find and mark your own points. And if you notice, those 2 points right there fall at a nice spot. I could have also used this one because that falls at a nice spot as well. So you always want to try to find points that are nice. So we're just going to stick with the 2 that were already marked. Because slope is rise over run, we're going to start at the point 1, 6, and we're going to count how many we move up or down to get to the other one. Since we're going to be moving down, we're going to count that as a negative move. Anytime you move down is negative. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces down. And 2 spaces to the right. Remember, right is positive, left is negative, down is negative, up is positive. Okay, so now we need to reduce this to get our overall slope number. Okay, so we know that. Now we need to look at our graph and find the y-intercept. If you look on your graph, find the place where it crosses the y-axis, and that's going to be your y-intercept number. Now that you have those two critical pieces of information, now you can write your equation. That's the final answer that we're looking for there in red. Let's do the same thing on the next one. So again, we're going to count. I always start on the point that's on the left, and you always do rise first, which is your y, and run second. So counting up, we would be going up 5. So that's 5 steps in the positive direction. And then we're going to the right 4 steps. So that's also a positive move. We can't reduce that because you want to keep it improper. So our slope is going to be 5/4. Our y-intercept also happens to be at the origin. So we're going to have a b value of 0. When we put that together, we're going to get y equals 5/4 x. And then because it's going to be plus 0, we don't really need to write that part. So that's our final answer. By the way, side note is if you do put plus 0, it's not wrong. You just don't really need it. It's not necessary. Okay, so this one's a pretty flat line. And again, let's start over at the -4, 1 point. I always go from left side to right side. So even though it's pretty flat, we're going to still have to rise 1 point or 1 value. So from here, we're going to go up 1. But we have a lot of spaces to go to the right. So let's count those spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we're going to the right 9 spaces. So overall, our slope is going to be 1/9. That's not the prettiest y-intercept. If you look at it, it's between 1 and 2. So we're going to have to estimate that. We think it's probably going to be about 1.5. Okay, so overall, your equation is going to be 1/9 x plus 1.5. That's all I really need you to do. Okay, make sure you have those when you come to class. Thank you.